Hello students, I'm Shilpa Sharma, Senior Science Teacher, MGGS Kota. Today we are going to start chapter 8, that is winds, storms and cyclones. So the first question which comes into our mind is, what is wind? See students, air moves from areas of high pressure to areas of low pressure. What did I say? Air moves from high pressure to low pressure, and this movement of air is called wind. In a simple language, moving air is called wind. So the next question which comes into our mind is, what is air? Air is a mixture of different gases. Here you can see it is made up of nitrogen, oxygen, noble gases like argon, carbon dioxide, water vapor, etc. In this diagram, you can see that air is made up of 78% of nitrogen, 20.9% of oxygen and 1.1% is of other gases. Now we are going to learn few characteristic properties of air. The first property which we are going to understand is air exerts pressure by doing some activities. Here you can see a can with hot water being cooled. Let us see what's going on here. We are doing an activity in which we are going to take water in tin can and boil it for few minutes. Then we'll take off the flame and cover tightly with a lid. Then we'll pour cold water over can. What will you observe? Your observation will be that the tin can gets distorted. Why it got distorted? Why it gets distorted? The conclusion is because air exerts pressure. Water poured over can condense to steam. This reduces air in the can. Pressure of air in can is less than the pressure of air outside the can. And that is the reason, because the outside pressure is higher, it compresses the can and it gets distorted. So this was our activity 1. And it concludes that air exerts pressure. Here you can see the activity which we have done, and it shows that air exerts pressure. Few more examples. In kite flying, wind coming from back helps. It is easier to row boat when winds are coming from the behind. It is difficult to ride bike against the direction of wind. These all examples conclude that air exerts pressure. Next characteristic property of air which we are going to understand is high speed winds are accompanied by reduced air pressure. Let us see how. This is the activity which we are going to do. Let us see what the activity is. Put a crumpled paper into the mouth of an empty bottle. Just like this. Here you can see it is given in your book as well. You can take the help of your book to see what we are doing. Now we'll blow on the ball to force it into the bottle, to force the paper into the bottle. What will you observe? You will observe that it is difficult to force paper into the bottle. And the reason is, the conclusion is, air near the mouth has high speed. It decreases the air pressure there. Air pressure inside the bottle is higher than near the mouth, and that is the reason it becomes difficult for us to push the paper inside the bottle. Here you can see we are blowing that paper piece into the bottle, but it is difficult for us. Why? Because the pressure inside the bottle is higher than pressure near the bottle, right? So this was our activity 2. In activity 3, we are going to blow the balloons. Let's see what it is. This is the activity which we are going to do. What we will do, we'll take 2 balloons filled with little water. We'll tie them to a stick 10 centimeter apart. We'll blow in space between the balloon. Here you can see that we are blowing in between the space of those two balloons, what will we observe? We observe that balloons moved towards each other. We are blowing in the space between the balloon, but they are moving towards each other. The conclusion or the reason behind it is that air pressure between the balloon is reduced, and pressure outside the balloon pushes them towards each other. We are blowing air in between the balloons, but balloons are coming towards each other. Why? Because the pressure outside the balloons are higher than the pressure in between the balloons. So that is the reason they came together. They came towards each other. So this was our activity 8.3. Now the next activity is, can you blow and lift? Here you can see what we are going to do in this activity. Blowing over a strip of paper. Let's see what we will do. We'll hold a strip of paper 20 cm long and 3 cm wide between thumb and forefinger. We'll blow over paper. What will we observe? Paper goes upwards. Paper went upwards. The conclusion here is blowing over paper reduce air pressure above that strip. It increased the wind speed is accompanied by reduced air pressure. What did I say? Increased wind speed is accompanied by reduced air pressure. Air moves from high pressure region to low pressure region. Greater the difference in the pressure, faster the air moves. If high wind speed blow over roofs, weak roofs will lift and blow away. So what did I say? I said that air moves from high pressure region to low pressure region. We are concluding it from our previous two activities 8.3 and 8.4 that air moves from high pressure to low pressure region, and greater the difference in the pressure, faster the air moves. Now the next characteristic property which we are going to understand is air expands on heating. This is the experiment which we are going to do and we are going to understand. Let's see what we are doing here. On a boiling tube, fix a balloon over its neck. Here you can see how you are going to do it. This is a test tube with boiling water in it, and we are tying a balloon at its neck. Put tube in hot water in beaker. Observation. In a few minutes, balloon inflates. Reason, air expands on heating. The air which was present inside this test tube, it got expanded. Why? Because we are putting it inside the hot water. Because of that heat, that air got expanded, and that's the reason that balloon gets inflated. Put tube in ice cold water. Observation, balloon deflates. Reason is air contracts on cooling. Here you can see that in the first tube, balloon is tied over the neck of boiling tube. So balloon got inflated. Boiling tube immersed in hot water, then boiling tube immersed in cold water. So what is the difference between these two situations? In hot water, that balloon inflates, and in cold water, balloon deflates. So it shows that air expands on heating and air contracts on cooling. So this is the next activity which we are going to do. Let's see what it is. Tie two inverted paper cup in a rod with a thread like a balance scale. Put burning candle below one cup. Here you can see we are putting a burning candle below a cup. Observation, cup rises and the balance is disturbed. The conclusion is why it happened. Warm air rises, pushing back above candle. Warm air is lighter than cold air. On heating, air expands and occupies more space. Here you can see that the cup rises and this balance got disturbed, and the reason is because the warm air is pushing the bag above the candle, and warm air is lighter. As the warm air is lighter than cold air, It's going upwards. On heating, air expands and occupies more space. Warm air rises, air pressure is lowered, cold air fills the place and setting up convection in the air. So this is all for today. Thank you.